the property market going down, down, down. We always hear our cynics talking about it. Let's entertain it today.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak. What if the property market goes down 10%? We're always hearing agents saying it's going up, but let's address this fact. What if it goes down 10%? What are the repercussions for someone who's just bought and who's thinking to buy? I think it's a valid conversation because a lot of people go, I'm not going to buy, I think it's going to go down. Well, what does that mean to you, and what does it mean not to buy? Good morning, Mark.
Market's too hot. You shouldn't buy now. It's too hot. It's going to go down. Like, we're hearing it all our lives.
Yeah, the bubble's going to burst. And it's sometimes when you think about it, it's a little bit like, well, what if? We all need somewhere to live. So even if property market crashes, you need a roof over your head, and the principle will be the same. You either rent it or you buy it, and there's that balance. Obviously, we're not talking about a 50% crash and the economy fails, but there's dips in the market where it's hot and you see a 10% increase, and then some people think when they see that means it's going to dip down. But I think
you've always got your uncle that's like, or your Debbie Downer, buddy, auntie, whatever, and they're always like, nah, this is getting silly now. This is getting silly.
Exactly. And I think the main thing, especially we've learned through COVID, is property is very resilient, especially when the sentiment is all for buying property. I think that's the biggest thing we can talk about. There's always external influences that can make the prices go up and down, like we discussed in 17, 18, the Royal Commission. There was still big sentiment.
Can you zoom up a bit?
Yeah, there was big sentiment. Hey. There was in 2017, 18, like the sentiment was still strong, but it went down. No, because of all the financing regulations got quite tough. So I think sentiment's key.
All roads lead to sentiment, and however it's probably not even measurable. I know they've got sentiment levels that they measure in the market. I don't know how the hell you measure it, but all roads do lead to that. It's that makeup of how people feel after interest rates go up or down, after property prices go up or down. It's that sort of gut feeling, business, economy, all that sort of stuff. Something that's happening at the moment, which is pretty interesting, is everyone has been talking about that cliff, Michael. So everyone was saying, oh, yeah, you wait. You wait until JobKeeper's over, or you wait till March. And there was just consistently these markers that people were negative markers that were approaching the people, saying, oh, it's going to be the cliff, it's going to be the cliff, it's going to be the cliff. Where are those people that are making those calls now? And where is that cliff? Now, I looked at the other day, the banks are talking about possibly extending the where they've frozen repayments for people. And I believe some information that I saw floating around was, I think only 10% of people have mortgage freezes at the moment in the marketplace. Now, how much of that is out of desperation, and how much of that is out of how good is that? Yes. I'm thinking more desperation than how good is that. But considering our world is in absolute turmoil over COVID. I think Australians and considering China exports to China from Australia have been turned off pretty hard. Domestically, looks like we're floating okay.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to we got to realize our property market is very strong. Like 50% of homeowners don't have a mortgage on the property for one. So it's got a really strong base. It's not like everyone has a loan on their property. Then we've had substantial growth in the last 5 years, and prior to that, very consistent over a long period of time. So I was just thinking then in my head, let's just say the market goes down and a lot of people lose their jobs. It depends what period when they bought is all relevant to them, because someone who bought maybe 2 years ago compared to 7 years ago, just they've owned it for 7 years, so it's probably gone up 50% in value. The more they've been paying their mortgage around, like their repayment would be very different to someone who just bought in the last couple of years. And like Northern Beaches, let's say for example, 6,000 properties sold out of 300,000. So even if all those homeowners struggled with a price dip, it's still not a big number compared to the whole area. So I think our exposure is very small. So when you talk about just because JobKeeper stops, I think we're very insulated with good foundation and there's not much exposure is what I'm trying to say. It's not like, I don't know, 90% of people bought in the peak of the market, and any little fluctuation in interest and value and it throws off the system. More people owned before the property market went up than bought in new, because everyone goes, they're not consistent.
Yeah, people should know that. People should know that when there's been historically over the last 50 to 100 years corrections in the property market, we didn't really measure it well 50 to 100 years ago, but the last 50 years we've been pretty good at measuring. A massive correction in the market, it actually is not that massive. When it goes down, it's never really gone down much, ever. And you're talking war, you're talking recessions, you're talking global financial crisis, you're talking pandemics. It's actually, the market's never gone down that hard.
Yeah, and I just want to go, I shared the screen earlier, but let's talk the reality. Let's say you've just bought and the market, because we can talk speculation, all that, but what's it going to cost you? What's the potential cost? Let's say you're looking to buy, you're worried about, you need to buy, you're renting, you've got your loan approved for say 700,000. You are worried the market's going to go down 10%. Let's look at the worst case scenario. It goes down 10% after you've bought. Now you'll be kicking yourself, because if you sell straight away, you're going to lose 10%. But we all know properties are long term. You're not selling within 5-10 years. It's not when you buy, it's how long you're in the market for. But let's just take a second and have a look at it. So if you bought, this is a mortgage calculator, you got a loan for, 550,000, Westpac. Your mortgage.
Happy Saturday morning, Batman and Robin.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. So you're buying at 550,000 loan amount. Your payment would be 508. The market goes down 10% the next week, and if you had bought then, $460. So for $50 a week, $50 a week is the true value or difference to you buying, like having the market go down 10%, because you're not selling. Now for $50 a week, you've still got those good tax benefits. You've still got your own property that you can work in. Like it's not the end of the world. But what if you,
You know what else, Michael? This is a holding cost for people. It's a holding cost whether you are owner occupying, whether you are an investor, right? It's a holding. You also have a lodging, roof over your head holding cost when you are renting. So what's to say that you're not going to be renting for $500 a week and your rent's going to go up to $550? Like,
exactly right.
That's not a financial gloom doom, the world's changing. I reckon the odds are a landlord touching you up for 10% of what you're paying over the world, or the Australian property market touching you up for 10% of you're paying, are two very different things.
Well, Mark, if people stop buying who are going to move into their properties, they've got to rent. So the demand for owner-occupier purchases go down, market 10%. but the demand for rental properties goes up and the rental rates go up because there's more people looking to rent their property.
Yep.
So I think that's it, because I had I was at the barber shop the other day, and he was like, his mum was going to buy, but now she thinks the market's going to go down, so she's going to wait a year or two. And it's like, you can have that view, fine, but if you're eventually going to buy in the market, there's always ups and downs within a short period of time. Like, when you're betting against the house, you're betting against the sentiment of the Australian culture to buy property. And I think while that is still strong, I wouldn't bet against the house. There's obviously good times to buy. Maybe you buy just before Chrissy, you buy in Easter, unless people are looking like, you look at swings. We're seeing good changes in a couple months' time. But the reality is, if we asked a client who was selling their property, who bought 30 years ago, regardless of the price, do you remember if you bought in a good time or bad time? Like, if you bought 30 years ago and you bought at the peak, do you really care? It's been 30 years. I think we focus too much. I think it should simplify it. When you got the loan, look for the property. When you find the right property and you can afford it, buy it, and then head down, get on with the rest of your life. A lot of people try and be property heroes when they're just...
Bye, Jay. Bye.
Hey, Jay.
Bye, Jay. Have a nice day.
Yeah. What do you reckon? Yeah. So I think people try and just overcomplicate it.
Quick story.
Yeah.
I was away and got finance approval 2 years ago. Last year. Year before, in January. And I was like, Lisa and I, like, shit, market, got to buy something. And I was like, you know what? I reckon it's a really good time to buy when everyone's not selling, when everyone's, because whoever's on the market in, late December, early January is pretty motivated to sell. So I reckon we should buy one of those pretty motivated to sell properties. And Lacey goes, yeah, let's do it. And fortunately, we had the finance approval. It was sort of burning a bit of a hole in our pocket at the time, and it was an investment purchase. And I distinctly remembering I paid $860 for a 2-bedroom unit with lock-up garage in Freshwater, and it rented for like $550 or $600. It was a shocker rent. And I was like, and Michael, you and I have run maths on the property market on at that time. In hindsight, it was a really shit time, because I felt I definitely paid overs. When I looked at that, what I paid, it was like overs. Anyways, a year went past and I was like, I really paid overs. And a year and a half went past and I was like, yeah, I paid overs. And it just dawned on me, like, yesterday, I was like, shit, that's probably like a 900 unit now. Look, like compared to what people are making in properties, it's not. But I was like, man, that suddenly looks like an unbelievable buy now. So, point is, if you're buying at the top of the market, don't worry. Time fixes all of that. And the other scenario is I probably would have put it to sleep. I probably wouldn't have my finance would have lapsed. I probably would have got 2 years later and said, now it's time, and I'm paying 50 grand more. So you sort of, I just think, you got to, if that property market goes down, if you're banking on it going down, I don't know, I think you got to have that long-term view.
Yeah, and like we said, you're not losing until you've sold it. Like, things going down, it sucks for that feeling that your investment's gone down, but it can go back up just as quickly. It's playing that sort of long game through it. And with especially Sydney, New South Wales, we're always with big immigration, big growth, and property prices keeps going up. And the government knows it's probably one of our biggest sectors. So it's not like it's going to fail anytime soon, especially when half the people who have properties have no loans. Like, I think that's because if you think of America, the mortgage crisis, that was mortgage crisis, giving people loans to buy things they can't afford. When you think Australia, half the people who have property don't have loans, you're pretty stable. So, and then anyone.
So guys, love it or hate it. Love it or hate it. Just get in there.
Yeah. Bye. All good. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
See you later. Thanks, Bird. Thanks, Stone. Thanks, everyone.
Outro. There.